you got something to say to me, then say it to my face. What it's all about, why you're bailing out. Think you owe me an apology. Just say it to my face. You're sorry. You're so sorry. You're so sorry. You're so sorry. Say it to my face. You're so. And I quit my job for you, even quit some friends for you, 'cause you couldn't stand it, me all independent, so you had to have me for yourself. That was when I trusted you, when I could add up 2 and 2, when you promised we'd be together, you, me, forever. Now there's nothing left to lose. And though I understand it's hard sometimes to make up your mind in these trying times, yeah, I just can't accept you leaving me when I'm overseas with the heart so heavy. Think that I deserve the truth for once, not a guilty tone, 'cause you're not alone, yeah. You said you wanna come home, but I know you don't. So this time I won't hear it on the phone. If you got something to say to me, then say it to my face. What it's all about, why you're bailing out. Think you owe me an apology. Just say it to my face. You're sorry. You're so sorry. You're so sorry. You're so sorry. Say it to my face. You're sorry.
Join our membership program, sign up, find out what's going on, become a patron, and support our work. We're doing these amazing virtual live streams covering events, marches, protests, and actions that mainstream media just isn't covering.
A lot of these very common sense policy interventions aren't given the space they need.
You know, the truth is, before we have the political revolution, we need a media revolution.
We really see this opening in the media space, with television transitioning to the internet in particular. Streaming platforms, Netflix, Hulu, etc., are the next frontier.
And we're not mainstream media. You're not getting a 10-second clip and a very watered down, whitewashed version of what's going on.
Having a media company to support these kind of movement efforts is extremely valuable.
People want to talk to us because they know that we're talking to the people.
We need a dedicated, empowered, honorable base of people who are willing to fight for what they believe in.
This needs to be all of us, not just like watching great content, not just sharing great content, but taking the correlated action and making sure that together these movements are more effective across the board.
We are amplifying activists' messages, activist movements, activist campaigns, activist call to action. There's no more important work to be done in this country right now, and ACT TV is doing it, and we need you to be a member. Go to act.tv and sign up to be a member today.
The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show.
Welcome to the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show. We have been tracking the announcement from the draft opinion coming from the Supreme Court with regards to Roe versus Wade. We are keeping our eye on that, and we're going to discuss that at great lengths today, starting with On the Clock with Georgia Ford. And we're going to be joined by Noah Changa, a friend of the show and a longtime political activist and commentator, to discuss what this means. I do have to saddle this conversation with a lot of back knowledge and understanding that it has been the purpose of the conservative movement to undo Roe versus Wade since it was decided. It has been the intention of the Republican Party to do this. So this should not be seen as a surprise. This is something that they have been marching towards unapologetically for decades. And now with this released opinion, it is not a final decision. It is a draft opinion that came from the court, which in and of itself is something that has never happened before. But someone leaked this, and we'll get more information on that. I want to read from Politico. The Supreme Court has voted to strike down the landmark Roe versus Wade decision in an initial draft majority opinion written by Justice Samuel Alito, circulated inside the court and obtained by Politico. The draft opinion is full-throated, unflinching repudiation of the 1973 decision, which guaranteed federal constitution protections of abortion rights, and a subsequent 1992 decision, Planned Parenthood versus Casey, that largely maintained that right. We'll discuss this a bit more throughout this episode. Again, Georgia Ford is going to discuss it with us on the clock, and Rebecca Azor will be here to discuss it with us on Like It or Not, and Noah Changa will be joining us to discuss it as well, because this is the crown jewel of a group that I think we need to clearly identify unapologetically. There is a faction in this country that has no other desire than to dominate American society through their religious dogma. They are theocratic fascists. And while they may, I know a lot of, sometimes I get emails and say, Ben, stop using all the big words. I need you to understand that that really precisely defines them. They are people who don't care about democracy because they believe that what they are doing in the name of Christ is more important than democracy. And if you ask them about their interpretation of Christ, they will most certainly consider me an infidel because I think Jesus was black. So if we're talking about a particular denomination, these are people who would most certainly crush every other version of Christianity that does not meet their standard. And they have financial power, economic power, they have political power, they own politicians. And here they are now getting their crown jewel opportunity to overturn Roe versus Wade. Why? Because they are concerned about life? No. If they were concerned about children being born, then they would address the underlying issues, the overwhelming underlying issues why people make that decision, while women have to make that decision. And oftentimes they are married couples. According to the Guttmacher Institute, a high percentage of people who obtain abortions are married couples doing so after they've already had children. And they're doing so because of an economic condition. And if any of these theocratic fascists who fancy themselves to be the vanguard of the Lord Jesus Christ actually gave a damn about children, then they would address all of the things in this system that kill us every single day. And all the reasons that people who are working 60 hours a week and only making $7.25 an hour have to make that choice that, no, I cannot afford to have another child. That's just my soapbox. There's a long fight ahead of us, but I want you to really understand that there is a political and economic social movement that should be labeled accurately. They are theocratic fascists. They are religious zealots. They are extremists in the order of Osama bin Laden, and they have the majority on the bench. Quote that. I want to move forward to what's happening in Russia. Majority of Americans, rather, support Russian sanctions. A large majority of American sanctions on Russia supported. This is according to a new Washington Post ABC News poll reported on May 2nd. It found widespread bipartisan support for U.S. sanctions imposed on Russia for the invasion of Ukraine. 73% of poll respondents think that the U.S. is doing the right amount to bolster Ukraine and that the U.S. is doing too little, or that the U.S. is doing too little. Only 14% of respondents think the U.S. is doing too much to help Ukraine against the invasion of Russian forces. 13% stated that they had no opinion. There is a faction in this country that no matter what is actually happening before their eyes, they will always still undermine this mission to help Ukraine because it indirectly supports the president that's in power. I mean, there's really no other way to cut it. The Republican Party has decided to abandon foreign policy, which here to this point politics has always ended at the borders of our country, and we spoke with a unified voice. Now, while the majority of Americans do see very clearly that we should be supporting Ukraine, 73% is very encouraging. There will always be a percentage who are not tuned in and always be a percentage who, no matter what the right thing to do is, they will be willing to do the wrong thing for the expediency of their politics. I will be speaking later on in this episode with Professor Matt Sienkiewicz. He's a professor of media studies at Boston College, and we're going to be discussing the Russian foreign minister and his comments as it pertains to Zelensky, tying Nazism to Zelensky's Jewish heritage. We are going to discuss the really flagrant statements that were made in the broader context of everything that is happening. So I want you to make sure that you stay tuned in for that. So many things that are happening around the country. We want you to join the conversation. Join the conversation today by leaving comments. We will be bringing and replying and answering questions through the comment section. So if you have a minute, if you have a thought and you want to participate, or if you just want to join the conversation, leave us a question and we will do our best at certain points in the show to address it, as well as getting our phone lines up. We want to make this as interactive as possible because, as we have seen on many of our phone calls, some of the brightest conversations or thoughts that come from the show actually come from our supporters. In other international news, Poland moves to help Germany drop Russian oil. This is a very interesting story because of a lot of the complexities that are happening with regard to Russia. It's based on the fact that Europe, many countries in Europe, specifically Germany, is dependent on Russian oil, and Poland is stepping in to try to break that dependency on Russia. According to Reuters, reporting on yesterday, Poland's climate minister said that the country is prepared to help Germany decrease its dependence on Russian oil. Since many EU countries rely on Moscow for energy, the bloc can't seem to agree how to sanction or how sanctions should be implemented. Poland's climate minister said in a statement, as reported by Reuters, as Poland, we are ready to support Germany's ambitions to de-Russify their refineries. I am pausing because of the boldness of that phrase, that very specific phrase, the de-Russification of their refineries. This is a bold statement from Poland's climate minister, but it really speaks to the underlying issue here. We do very clearly see on the international stage what Russia is doing to be a violation of everything that has been built post-World War II. Yet there are actors, namely Germany, on the international stage who find themselves unable to do everything that they can because of their dependence on Russian oil, which speaks to the underlying issue. Our nations have been pigeonholed and controlled by fossil fuels for so long that now we are engaged in yet something that could amount to be World War III. And at the core of it is the question of oil, Nord Stream 2. Behind almost every war that we have seen on the face of this planet has had roots in fossil fuels, in oil. And so for Poland to step in to offer this, it is a bold statement, particularly because of Poland's proximity to Russia and the fact that Poland has always had these tight friction with Russia post the fall of the USSR. So Poland is sticking its neck out here. But more importantly is the fact that globally, if we do not move away from our fossil fuels, and we'll be talking about it at great lengths and on the clock with Georgia Ford, there are just so many reports that are showing our negligence as a species, our negligence as a civilization, as a group of collective countries, our negligence is leading us to destruction. And one of the main reasons is because we cannot get ourselves off of fossil fuels. And it's not only destroying our planet, which is the bottom line, it's also destroying the structure and the order that we have had in this world. Not perfect by any means. I'm one of the highest and biggest critics of this order. But we most certainly understand that what Vladimir Putin desires is something that is anathema to everything that we have stood for and believe in. And that moves us right directly into this last story before we take our first break. Experts are saying that forests could begin emitting carbon dioxide. Now, as we studied and we jumped into this story last night, the headline itself is pretty shocking and meant to be shocking. But because of the scale and the scope of wildfires across this country, the amount of carbon dioxide that is going to be put out by trees burning is a staggering amount that has to be noted. It's contributing. Instead of trees being able to remove carbon dioxide from our environment, we have had so many wildfires that now we have trees and the fire and the burning of those trees contributing to the disaster. I want to read directly from the report. Wildfires have become more common in Europe and North America specifically, and now experts are saying they could begin releasing large amounts of plant warming emissions. A recent study finds that wildfires in North America's boreal forests could release nearly 12 gigatons of carbon emissions in the next 3 decades. With experts saying carbon emissions from forests in the next 30 years will equate to the annual equivalent of 2.6 billion fossil fuel powered cars. The forests, also known as Tajai, are the world's largest, most intact biome, and its ecosystem makes up 1/3 of all forests on Earth. And we are at the stage of decline where those trees, those forests now, instead of doing what they are naturally designed to do because of our recklessness, because of our greed, we are now seeing the earth turn on itself because of our actions. And yet we're not at a place where we can get this 97% of consensus of scientists to be able to move our political leaders into action. When we have 97% of consensus from scientists as it pertains to global warming, climate change, but yet we cannot get a single administration to make the move towards climate justice and a green economy, it really speaks volumes to how quickly we are barreling towards destruction and just ignoring all the signs on the wall.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned. On the clock is coming up next to Georgia Ford on the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show. Benjamin is having some issues as usual. So make sure y'all stay tuned, man. On the clock is coming up next. Good morning, everybody.
No, you just can't hurt me. No, you just can't hurt me. No, no, no. I know it's hard to be polite, and it's easy being petty. My mama used to tell me, gotta use you when he ready. Man, it's crazy how my brother said it could have been my cell. It's either prison or a grave. That's what everybody tell me.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning.
I'm staying 10 toes down, though I still might fall. Oh, yeah, now I done came through, knocking pictures off your wall. Cause loving people who persecute you, it's still a tough be a light up on my path and a lamp under my feet. I know my faith strong, but my flesh still kinda weak. When that victory be looking like the verge of defeat, and I feel that disrespect, help me turn my other cheek and say sticks and stones
Amber, good morning. Kitty Muse, Spin Cycle. Jason, good morning. Amber, Boondocks Dragon, Shade Dragon, good morning. Trevor, good morning. Six Dragon Daddy, Ghost on the Half Shell. Iken and good morning. Ryan, good morning to you. Other Bull Spit, what's going on? Carmen Jones, good morning. Moonbeat, good morning to you. Jessica Morrow, Melanie Dennis, good morning. Darlene. Good morning, everybody. Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned. Creative Impact, good morning. Mara Cerise, good to see you. Good morning to you.
It's easy being petty. Mama used to tell me, gotta use you when you're ready. Cause I ain't working on my own timing. Ain't got no diamonds on me, but I stay shining. Yeah, yeah. They say the world would be a better place if we take out the hate.
Hollywood 2000, Indian Brown. Ron Foreman, good morning, y'all.
Light up on my path and the lamp under my feet. I know my faith strong.
Elizabeth Lanza, good morning. Randy Edie, happy birthday, Elizabeth Lanza. Oh my gosh, happy birthday to you, y'all. Make sure y'all send y'all happy birthday wishes to Elizabeth Lanza.
But your words can't hurt me. No, you just can't hurt me.
Silk City Socialist, good morning to you.
More than I've been wrong, and it still can't hurt me.
Deb, good morning to you, Deb.
No, you just can't hurt me. No, you just can't hurt me. No, no, no.
Greg, and good morning. Birdie, what's going on, Birdie? Good morning. Indian Brown birthday as well today too. Good morning, Indian Brown. Happy birthday to you. And of course, my TV has gone on. I eat my camera.
I'm a little bit too consumed, but every part of my body is telling me to run away from you. Come a little bit closer. Yeah, yeah. Come a little bit closer. Yeah. You're a little bit crazy. It's been days, but you never change. What's love got to do with it? He comes around, better knock that stuff down. Come a little bit closer. Yeah, yeah. Come a little bit closer. Yeah. So all my ladies who got a brother that doesn't treat them right, put your finger right in his face and tell that man bye-bye. I'm too fly. I'm too fly. Bye-bye. 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 You're a little bit selfish. You get mad every time you lose. You can't take me with you. I'm scared you're gonna blow your fuse. Come a little bit closer. Yeah, I can really start over. Yeah, in the back of my mind, there's someone waiting on me. You're just wasting my time because you're scared and lonely. Finally got some closure. Yeah.
Miss Sophia, good morning to you. Pray good morning.
Yeah. So all my ladies who got a brother that doesn't treat them right, put your finger right in his face and tell that man bye-bye. I'm too fly. I'm too fly. Bye-bye. 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 Here's to the
all right, y'all know what time it is.
She's too used to be.
We are now on the clock for Georgia Court. Georgia, good morning to you.
I'm glad that's what you believe.
This morning, we examine what's taking place with Roe versus Wade. For nearly 50 years, women have had the right to choose. They have been able to decide the future of their bodies, the future of their homes, and in some cases, the future of their lives. In some instances, women are faced with a very complex choice of whether or not to save their baby or save themselves. And up until now, since at least about the 70s, women have been able to make that choice for themselves. However, with the decision looming on whether or not the Supreme Court is going to overturn Roe versus Wade, many women are feeling like that choice is being taken from them. In fact, we're seeing thousands of people, men and women alike, take the streets across the country to protest the idea of Roe versus Wade being overturned. Here in Minnesota, in both St. Paul and Minneapolis, we've been seeing protests. I want you guys to go ahead and take a look at the 2 emergency rallies that took place when the news first came out.
Why are we here today arguing this over and over again? The lawmakers who claim to care about life are word vomiting bullshit. Of course, they don't actually care about the well-being of any fetuses and soon-to-be newborns. Not at all. This much is apparent in the disgusting lack of investment in social policies such as universal health care, the inaccessibility of our infrastructure, and the disinvestment in public education.
Women embody various identities and affinities, and just uterus having people in general. If we look around, we will see that there is no singular definition of what it means to be a woman. And it's harsh, but we also know that not all women are treated the same. Not all assigned female at birth people are treated the same. Indigenous women, poor women, disabled people, black and brown people, trans and non-binary people. The farther one is from the ideal person, the greater discrimination and abuse one can face. We're demanding everyone be treated with humanity and not with discrimination.
They assured us that we were secure because we had this untouchable line of defense in Roe v. Wade. But the truth is that they saw this crisis coming and they had opportunity after opportunity to stop it, and they did nothing. They failed us. They sat back and allowed their conservative counterparts to pass abortion restrictive bills that stripped effective abortion from almost the entire South this year. And they won elections for the past 50 years on the rhetoric of protecting reproductive freedom, meanwhile doing nothing to codify abortion rights in federal law. Someone say shame! And women's rights are under attack. What do we do? When women's rights are under attack, what do we do? When trans rights are under attack, what do we do?
And so, as you can see there, DJ exclusive, I mean, hundreds of people came out. That's just here in Minnesota. But on the other side of this, from the faith community, people are saying we need to protect the sanctity of life. What are your thoughts on this?
Georgia, it's a lot. It really is, just... First of all, that the leak even happened is a lot, but now that, they're confirming that it is true and everything is going on, I'm glad that there are so many protests popping up. I know here in Atlanta as well, too. Once it came out, the protesters, they showed up right there at the Capitol steps here in Atlanta as well to protest. So I'm glad it's happening. But, that other caveat is you have those that are in support of this showing up as well, too. And just listening to some of those comments that they make, it's almost like, do you hear what you're saying? And the disturbing part of that is some of those people are the people that look just like you and I, Georgia.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, for me, I feel like it's not my place to be God.
Amen.
At the end of the day, like, no one on this earth is perfect. And if you are a spiritual person, that is what the Bible says, is like God is going to judge us based on our own decisions that we make. And so it doesn't quite make sense to me that we still, as a country, we don't have paid parental leave. And so if a family, even this happens sometimes for married couples where they're on baby number 5 or 6, and trying to make ends meet. Maybe the mom just started a new job. She's not going to get parental leave. She's going to actually lose her job. That happened to me twice. not being eligible for maternity leave. And so it feels like there's a double-edged sword in our laws, because if we're removing the right for women to have an abortion, what protections are we putting in place for them to keep the baby and also keep their job and also maintain their health? And so, it's just in the same breath of these lawmakers who are saying that they want to ban abortions, they should also be saying, and we're going to advance paid parental leave, and we're going to provide free, preschool for all kids. We're going to reduce the cost of childcare. But none of those things are happening. So for me, you can't just say, let's protect the children, but then not stand up and actually pass legislation that protects the children when they're born.
Right.
And so that's the part where it frustrates me. I'd love to hear from you guys, by the way. Those of you who are listening, you can call in at 301-715-8592. That's going to be pinned in the chat. Again, that's 301-715-8592. I understand this is a really complex issue. We want to hear from you regardless of where you stand, or even if you've had your own personal experiences. DJ Exclusive, you said in Atlanta, they're also protesting this. I know in Portland, they're protesting. I've seen a few other cities that are protesting too. Has there been any lawmakers out there who have stood up to take a stand either for or against this?
Georgia, they've been very, very quiet here in Georgia. I can honestly say that here. Haven't heard anything from our state politicians. So I am interested to see. I know that day to day that the protests are growing. So I am interested to hear from them. But as of now, nothing at all. Only one that we have heard something from is Stacey Abrams, of course.
Yeah. So, well, I do know a friend of the show, Senator Turner, has been speaking out, and I want you guys to take a listen. She's a good friend of the show. I want you guys to take a listen at what she has to say on this issue.
How are you feeling?
I am angry.
Angry and upset?
Angry and upset and determined. The United States Congress can keep Roe versus Wade the law of the land. They just need to do it.
I've never seen you so angry. You seem to be...
This is what the Republicans have been working toward this day for decades. They have been out there plotting, carefully cultivating these Supreme Court justices so they could have a majority on the bench who would accomplish something that the majority of Americans do not want. 69% of people across this country, red states and blue states, old people and young people, want Roe versus Wade to maintain as the law of the land. We need to do that. And we have a right. Extremists, we've heard enough from the extremists, and we're tired of it. Thank you.
Senator, does this open the door for other constitutional rights?
That's Senator Warren, not to be confused with a friend of the show, Nina. But we do have a call. Let's go ahead and hear from one of our listeners. Good morning. Are you with us?
Hello?
Good morning.
Hello?
What are your thoughts on Roe versus Wade being overturned?
I feel horrible. To say the least. But I feel most horrible for the people that this will be affecting. Especially a lot of those young women and people who don't have the resources and money or just the ability to get an abortion when they desperately need it. I feel like there are people, especially people in power, who could be really doing something and actually being forcefully giving this moment the anger and like the severity it deserves, but I don't feel like they're really out to do anything. I mean, I feel like people like Elizabeth Warren and possibly AOC, I think they're like the only ones really getting this moment the severity it deserves. But I don't really see anybody else in leadership doing much of anything. I actually see like people like Jim Clyburn doing the opposite. There's something for people like Henry Cuellar, like the anti-abortion Democrat in the House. And to say nothing of the actual like Republicans who are making this about the leaker and making this about like, oh, who leaked this and who did this, and like while ignoring the actual substance of like women losing their bodily autonomy, because they know that it's unpopular and they know that people are not in support of this. And they don't.
Well, let me ask you this. What do you say to people in the faith community who feel like from a moral standpoint, abortion is wrong? I mean, I feel like they're going to believe what they believe. And I feel like what they believe is baked in. But I think there is some convincing that we need to have them do, because this is not about being like pro-life or this or that. Like, because like I would love for them to understand that, and I hope we can convince them that this was never about being pro-life. Like because women will not. There are people that won't survive this, and people are going to die as a result of these like unwanted pregnancies. It's just I'm not sure how to convince them. I'm just one person, but I do think I do think we should do everything we can to like talk to them and make sure they feel it, that these people they don't care about you, and they never have. And and it's also hard to find the words, And so, what is your name, sir? Where are you calling from?
This is Tyler Hackner. I'm from Minnesota.
Tyler, thank you so much for calling this morning. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Tyler. Georgia, you said something. You asked him that question. What would you say in the face of those that come with the Bible argument? Honestly, myself, I would say, and we talked about this a little bit yesterday, I would say to myself, hey, everybody has their own beliefs, and they're free to believe what they believe. You believe in what that book says. Maybe I don't. I don't take it word for word. But so at the end of the day, you trying to push your rhetoric or your beliefs on me, it's not going to work the same. You can't convince me otherwise. I mean, I have free will and I have free thinking. So at the end of the day, don't try to push your beliefs on me, and I won't try to push my beliefs on you. But at the end of the day, I do believe that it is up to the woman to make their own decisions for what they want to do with their bodies. Regardless of what any book says, it is the woman's right and decision, period.
Well, and I think that, to your point, oftentimes this is not a easy decision. It's not just black or white. It's not just right or wrong. I think that there's a lot of complexity and nuance that goes into a woman making this choice, which clearly is not, I'm guessing, an easy choice for anyone to make. But there's so many examples and situations that have been thrown out there. And regardless of what percentage of the population for women who get abortions it represents, when you think about a woman being raped and getting pregnant as a result, do we really want to become a society that forces that woman to have to raise that child and for 9 months? That is a very sensitive situation, but it is a real situation that has occurred, and it might not be a large percentage of abortions. And we've talked already this morning about situations where women know that they are in danger of dying, whatever medical condition that they get when they become pregnant. Women who have a history of hemorrhaging, which is the leading cause of death while giving birth. You have those situations where women are like, well, is it my life or the baby's life? And again, but so to just totally outlaw abortion altogether, it feels like we're missing the mark, and that there's so many situations, and needless to say, even just if a woman can't afford it or doesn't want to be a single mom, or the list goes on and on and on of reasons why women choose to have an abortion. And at the end of the day, if you have a moral compass and you do believe in God, then that is something that they need to reconcile in their relationship with God. It's not like we have this perfect society where it's affordable to have a home or affordable to have healthcare or affordable to have childcare. And so as the middle class is increasingly becoming smaller and smaller and smaller, it's just, and I think that there's a lot of other things that get lost in this conversation. A lot of the nuance about even women in circles that I know often talk about, like, why can't men take birth control? It's always up to the woman, and how much after 10 years of being married, you're doped up on birth control. What does that do to your body? And at what point can that burden be put on your partner? And so I'm curious to hear from people. I think we still have time for another call. If you want to call in 301-715-8592. But it's a very complex issue. And there's a lot of nuance and complexities to it.
And Georgia, we do have another caller on the line. Bring them in just a moment. But it's funny to me how we're having this discussion not a year, maybe a little more removed from a lot of these same people saying, you can't tell me that I have to wear a mask to save countless lives, but now I'm going to tell these women what they can and can't do. You know what I mean? So it's kind of ironic that we're here now. But caller, thank you for calling. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hi, I'm Angie from Wisconsin.
Good morning, Angie.
What I want to talk about is I think we need to talk more about how they're going after the birth control. Also, that's not being talked about as much as the abortion. And I don't think a lot of the conservative people really know that they're going after the birth control, that it's just the abortion and that's what they're against. But once they realize that they can't even take birth control to prevent pregnancy, which is their whole point, well, why don't you take contraceptive to avoid being pregnant? And that's I just feel like we should just talk a lot more about this no birth control bit, because even Republican women take birth control.
Right.
Yeah. Well, Angie, thank you so much for calling this morning. You bring up a very great point. And even some say in communities, contraceptives are extremely expensive. They're also not 100% effective either. They are more and more effective. However, I will say that I have 3 children and was definitely on birth control when I got pregnant with at least one of them. And so, that there's that. But in some communities, when you start going further and further out in rural communities, it is not as easy to get contraceptives. And if you
and they're trying to make it. They're trying to make it illegal to even mail. They're trying to make it a drug, like a number one drug, like marijuana, is basically what they're saying. I think it was like in Michigan that they proposed it. So the thought is there. So if you can't even get it mailed to you, and I know for
That's
here,
terrible.
one of our stores is they don't even sell condoms. So I mean that's a religious thing for that store. So it's like, if you can't even have a condom, I mean, and I don't know if these men realize it, that us women, every once in a while, we like to have a nice little one night stand, a little quickie. Those are out. Those are going to be completely out. I just want y'all to know this, because I know one thing: I ain't going to want to have sex at all if I'm not protected in no way, shape, or form. I'm just letting you know that. Just thought I'd point that out to the men that might not point two together.
Well, I would hate to know I'd hate to know the statistics of STDs in that city.
Oh, right.
That's a whole nother problem. Angie, thank you so much for calling.
So. All right, you have a great one. Bye-bye.
You as
Thank
well.
you, Angie.
Thank you. Well, we are on the clock. It is 7 your time, Bubba. But we are going to continue to follow this. I know that there's been already some developments this morning. There's more protests that are planned here in the metro area in Minnesota. So we're going to continue to follow this. But stick around for more on the Benjamin Dixon Show.
I want to shift gears to what is commonly known as May Day. We celebrate on the 1st of May, which is celebration of labor rights and worker rights all across the globe. But I want to bring attention particularly to Georgia Fort's coverage of rallies and protesters who join in Minneapolis in support of May Day. Let's take a look at Sister Fort's coverage.
There is only one solution.
Workers lead the revolution. May Day is a day of celebration and remembrance. A time when we celebrate the victories of the labor movement and when we remember the people who have struggled for those victories. It's also a day of community. Community like all of you that are here. We reach out and create a space to uplift one another's voices so that the victories of the future are victories for all of us in the struggle and not just for a privileged few.
When people of color are under attack, what will we do? Stand up, fight back! When workers are under attack, what will we do? Stand up, fight back! What will we do? Stand up, fight back!
Now, it's very easy for us to forget that the reason we have a 5-day work week is because of labor activists. The reason we have an 8-hour workday is because of labor activists. In fact, protests and strikes had to take place and lives were lost. It's sort of disconnected from us, almost over 100 years removed from the flashpoint of the labor movement. But the fact remains that we see worker rights being infringed upon every single day, specifically in this country. We're also tracking now Amazon making or no longer taking COVID-19 as a valid excuse for their workers to miss work. And we see this trend happening all across the country. It's not only that they are squeezing us simply for more work and more efficiency while not paying us for that additional efficiency. They're also saying that we have to work during this pandemic, and whether we get sick or not, it simply does not matter. All of those phenomenon that you are experiencing, it's not just Amazon. It's all of these jobs now using the excuse that the CDC gave them to now pressure people to come back into these workplaces, and some who never left now can no longer even use it as a justification for taking sick days. We're getting more information on that as it pertains specifically to Amazon, but it's all a reflection on the fact that labor has been under attack since the beginning of this country, since the foundation of this country. But I digress on that detail. That's a conversation for another day. We have to keep in front of us the fact that we must be diligent and vigilant as labor. And I want to say it very clearly, like there is, how do I put it on? I said it on Facebook because I'm not doing much talking on Twitter anymore. If you have to wake up and go to work for a living, I don't care how much you make. If you have to go and use your physical labor to live, you're not actually a capitalist. You work for capitalists. And if we don't keep that perspective in mind, we can find ourselves at a point where this is going to sound dramatic, where child labor laws, do you not think we are dealing with monsters who are capable of using child labor again? I mean, let's really think about all of the things that they're rolling back. When they're trying to roll back the entirety of the 20th century, keep in mind child labor. Child labor was one of the victories. Stopping child labor was one of the victories of the 20th century. And I guarantee you that we're dealing with the cabal of fascists who have no problem whatsoever if they need to fill those vacancies at Walmart and McDonald's with people who are underage. Because if they're willing to attack every other right, why would we give them the benefit of the doubt on anything else? We are in the middle of a class war that has been waged on workers since time immemorial. This has been a nonstop war on labor. It never stopped. Every single day in this country, there are millions of people who give everything that they have, every bit of energy that they have to go work at these warehouses. The warehouse industry is booming, and they are taking 12 hours a day out of the lives of people working nonstop shifts, back to back, day after day, coming out with no time to do anything else but to eat, sleep, and wake up and do it again. And those people are considered lazy by the rich elite who sit atop of cosmopolitan Manhattan skyscrapers, looking down at the workers, saying that they just need to work a little bit harder to climb that economic ladder. Let's not be mistaken. This is not a new phenomenon. This has been a true phenomenon throughout American history. And so as we commemorate and celebrate May Day, I think people need to keep in mind that those rights that were earned are consistently and regularly under attack. I do want to shift gears one more time to Washington, D.C. and discuss the White House plan to push $3 billion in electric vehicle battery production. This is one bright spot amidst of all the very sobering environmental news that we have been getting lately. CNBC is reporting that on May 2nd, the Biden administration said it will give $3.1 billion in aid to production of electric vehicle batteries in America. The funds are part of the $555 billion bipartisan infrastructure law. NBC News reports that administration officials have cited surging gas prices amid Russia's invasion of Ukraine as a visible reason to begin shifting toward electric vehicles. The director of the National Economic Council said in a statement, "We've seen just in recent days Putin trying to use Russia's energy supply as a weapon against other nations. And that underscores why it's so important that we in the United States reinvest and re-underwrite our own energy security." Gina McCarthy, the National Climate Advisor, said the following, quote, "We need a lot of batteries and we want American workers making those batteries right here in America." This is a good move. We should, by all means, the conversation never ends. What we need to do. We know what we need to do as it pertains to this environment. We've known for some time this is the right step in the right direction. It does bug me, though. Absolutely rubs me the wrong way to think that this is somehow tied to war itself. That the impetus behind this is, and while we salute and support and stand behind Ukraine, this is something that we should have been doing before Ukraine. This is something that we need to continue doing after Ukraine, because we have a tendency in this country to pour money into situations, into war. And as soon as that war is over, we turn our heads and leave it completely unfunded. So yes, this is great news, and we need to celebrate it as such, but we need more, number one, and we need to make sure that this is not solely tied to conflict, because America will spend any number of dollars on war and won't give a dime for everything else that we need. California runs almost 100% on renewable electricity. For the first time ever, renewable electricity met nearly 100% of California's demand, with much of the energy coming from a large amount of solar power produced along the Interstate 10, an hour east of Coachella Valley. Ana Gonzalez, a spokeswoman for California Independent System Operator, a nonprofit that oversees the state bulk electric power system and transmission lines, told reporters that solar power provided 2/3 of the amount needed, reaching 99.87% of load served by all renewables, which broke the previous record. The executive director of Environment California said the organization and others have worked for 20 years to put the Golden State to completely renewable power via a series of ever tougher mandates.
Rewind, do that again. Shouts out again for Georgia holding it down for us this morning. But on the clock, y'all make sure y'all stay tuned. Like it or not, may or may not be coming up next. If anything, we'll rock out with a little music for about 10 or 15 minutes, and we'll go from there.
Get you back, oh yeah. I promise you'll never leave me. When it comes to you and me, there's no one else I'd rather be with. Baby, I won't let you down. I got it, I know you need it. Love is it when you're around. Oh, please say that you believe it, 'cause I don't want to lose you. I hope you feel that way too. No, I don't want to lose you. Baby, don't go. Don't go. When I get you back,
Sarah AP, you know I will. This will be Bubba and Dwayne's hour.
When I get you back, oh yeah. When I get you back, oh yeah. Oh, when I get you back, oh yeah. 'Cause I don't wanna lose you. I hope you feel that way too. No, I don't wanna lose you. Baby, don't go. Oh, when I get you back, oh yeah. I promise you'll never leave me. When it comes to you and me, there's no one else I'd rather be with. When I get you back, oh yeah.
Shout out to Dwayne, who over there doing double duty.
When I get you back, oh yeah. When I get you back, oh yeah.
Okay, so once you get back, Buster Be Good, good morning. If your wife says she will be ready in 5 minutes, she will be. No need to remind her every 15 minutes about it.
I can see it in your eyes, the way Show me you want it. You're ready. You say you're ready for it. You're ready. What are we waiting on?
Alicia, good morning to you.
You're ready. You want it for it. You've heard some things people talk like they know the real me. Let me clear the air. I've made my mistakes. I've learned how to behave. I know I'm a stranger, but I feel acquainted. Reading the signs, we both got our damages. I don't wanna play it safely. With you, it's different. You know what I'm missing. Real talk, no fiction. I get lost in how I'm feeling. Yeah. I want you closer. You know where you started. Knowing that I need it. I can see it in your eyes. The way you
all right.
Your body, baby. Just say what I wanna hear. Tell me it's all for me. Just show me you want it. You're ready.
Like It or Not with Benjamin Dixon starts now.
Oh, now we got him. There he is. Coming to the stage. James, you got to get that out of my vernacular. I cannot introduce professors like we're at Players Club.
Like they're strippers coming to the stage.
What is this? Did it, Rebecca? I'm like coming to the stage.
But I did warn him. I said, Professor Sinkowitz, this is a foreign. I said, Professor. God, I can't stand you.
Take it.
Listen.
No, I follow now. Okay, new plan. That's fine. I can do that.
Okay, good. Improvise, Matt. Improvise.
Professor, I did warn you. I said, this is a foreign policy discussion, but I know your schedule said you had to be here at 9:15. I said, well, we're in rare form by 9:15, Doc. I don't know how professionally we could discuss this, but we can start with your book. Let's talk about your book first, which I think is a good segue into conversation. And the title of it again is That's Not Funny. I don't have it in front of me. We do have a graphic. Dwayne, if you want to pull it up on the screen for us.
Yeah, I've got a new book. Comes out today. It's called "That's Not Funny: How the Right Makes Comedy Work for Them." It's, to be clear, it's from a left perspective. So I've got a co-author, Nick Marks, professor over at Colorado State, and we spent a couple of years watching right-wing comedy, watching the stuff that people on the right are doing. Again, it's called "That's Not Funny." I'm not trying to tell you it's funny, but we make an argument that comedy on the right is a powerful way that it galvanizes people in that part of the spectrum, that it's something that you should know about. You probably have heard of some of the figures we write about in the book, but you might not know some others. And we make an argument again. We're not trying to tell you to be amused by it. We're trying to say that this is actually a part of contemporary politics that often goes unnoticed. So yeah, that comes out today. It's available Amazon. That's from the University of California Press. If you don't want to use the big bad Amazon. Yeah, it's available. Yeah.
Oh, no, man. Congratulations. I didn't realize that today was the release day. I'm so glad that we got you here this morning. So I was lucky and read your first book when we discussed it. So I'm excited to see you just continue to do what you do. Name a couple of the figures that you researched and you had to listen to their quote unquote comedy, because I've yet to find any Republican that's funny.
Yeah, again, and to be clear, there are people, look, we looked at such a range of people that there are moments here and there, but the overall sort of trend is not something that we're going to try to convince you that it's, sort of, we're not making a sort of taste judgment here. We're talking about politics, right? So we start with Greg Gutfeld, who imagine is getting more familiar to people. Greg Gutfeld has been on Fox News for a long time. And, he started off at this sort of weird kind of overnight show called Red Eye, and he's gotten bigger and bigger. He now has what is often the highest rated late night comedy show. He beats Colbert with some regularity. So we talk about Fox News. Yeah, for sure.
Wait a minute. I don't mean to interrupt what you're going on, but Greg Gutfeld, who has the most cringe-worthy comedy in the face in America, is beating Colbert on some nights.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's been beating the Daily Show for a long time. He beats Kimmel. I mean, there's different, if you really want to squint at it, you can say, well, what about online viewership? We're just talking about on cable. You can definitely say that Gutfeld is the only person who goes for that right-wing audience, right? So everybody else is like dividing it up and he's going for just one thing on his own. But yeah, he gets his numbers are at the top of the ratings when it comes to late night comedy. And again, that's not a statement about quality. That's a statement of just empirical fact. That's people watch it. So we talk about how Fox News, like for way back when they tried to do comedy, it flopped entirely. Now, again, whether you like it or not, they use it successfully. They use it to invigorate and get, I mean, it's still an old audience over at Fox News, clearly, but a little bit less old, perhaps, a little bit less sort of geriatric feeling. So we talk about Greg Gutfeld and Jesse Waters, who's also a character who I get nothing nice to say about, except that he is there to be a comic figure on Fox News. We talk about other figures who are a little more complicated politically. So we talk about Joe Rogan, and we note that Joe Rogan's personal politics are very tricky, but he certainly serves as a platform for a lot of people on the right, in addition to the left, but on the right as well. We talk about the world of libertarian comedy, which, sometimes is, can be not quite as offensive. And then there's shows like the Legion of Skanks, which is, sort of it's phrased in terms of free speech, but the free speech they use is to, use racist slurs and misogynist terms and all that sort of thing.
I'm upset with myself that the title made me chuckle, but that was the point of the title, right?
That's the point.
I was on mute. I started laughing.
I did too.
That's the point. We talk about the Babylon Bee. You might be familiar with the Babylon Bee. It's sort of,
I hate them.
Yeah, that's fine. Again, I'm not here to tell you to like any of it.
Yeah.
So it's like the Onion. It actually started. I'd be interested another longer maybe.
I just wish they were. I hate them because they suck. I hate them because they don't have quality work. Like the title. What was it? The Legion of Skanks. Like that's creative. I've yet to find anything from Babylon Bee that even makes me chuckle. But you're going to tell me now that they're pretty successful.
Yeah, no, I'll tell you that they do pretty well. I mean, you don't see it, right? I mean, you know how this works in the world of like your social media feed is curated by yourself, but also by algorithms. We have a chapter that talks about. I'm sure you'll love all these characters, Ben. You're going to enjoy this hat trick of three people or three groups. It's Babylon Bee. We talk about Ben Shapiro, and we talk about Steven Crowder, who's the change my mind guy, like the guy who goes to campus. And we make.
He's the one I told on Christmas Day. He went on Facebook on Christmas Day and was like how much he loves the Lord Jesus. I'm like, dude, Jesus doesn't even like you. He's such an evil person that he doesn't. I'm sorry.
Right.
I have. He doesn't like Jesus has to love him, but he doesn't have to like him, is what I was telling him. But you're naming some of the worst figures, and I'm being triggered because you're telling me they're all successful.
Definitely. They are successful. I mean, that they are successful. They are powerful in their worlds, right? Again, they're not going to convince you of anything. And you might be interested in that chapter, particularly Ben. The connection we make there is that so Crowder, Shapiro, and the Babylon Bee, they have a sort of religious background to them and a religious backdrop, but then they also have like a debate club thing that they try to do. It's sort of the worst of both worlds, right? They take kind of the parts of religion that you might find, to be exploitative or objectionable, and then kind of the sophistry, the debate club try to trick you and convince you that they're right. And it's supposed to be jokes too, right? I mean, that's how Crowder works. Again, you probably don't, if you've seen his Change My Minds, you probably don't personally find them funny, but he's doing crowd work. He is trying to get the crowd laughing in order to convince people towards his ridiculous and generally offensive positions, but it's what he's doing. And then just to finish off the sort of where we go, we also talk about the sort of far edge, and it'll actually bring us into our discussion here, Ben. So we talk about right-wing trolls, Holocaust deniers, guys like Nick Fuentes, this totally horrible thing. It's the show called The Daily Shoah, which is a Nazi podcast. Shoah is the Hebrew term for the Holocaust. So haha, right? But people listen. And an argument we make is that these connect together in ways that, nobody wants to admit over there. But you can get from these more mainstream people to the real extremes, including stuff like the Daily Shoah.
Nick Fuentes.
Just a few clicks, right? They work together.
It's amazing how you can go from Greg Gutfeld all the way down to Nick Fuentes and the pure, unadulterated Nazism that exists in this country with just maybe 3 clicks. And that's sobering.
That's right. And
listen, I have I want to see if we can do a critical international relations analysis in about 3 minutes. I reached out to you to discuss, Sergei Lavrov using particular language about Volodymyr Zelensky, referring to him as in a way of like Hitler.
Nazi.
And then when questioned as a Nazi, yes. And then when questioned about it, he uses some excuse about Hitler having some Jewish heritage. There's a lot to unpack on there. We don't have a lot of time. Would you let me know your thoughts on it and how it fits into the broader scheme of our geopolitics?
Yeah, well, first, that's boss level anti-Semitism, right? That is like taking it to the greatest extreme, right? So first thing needs to be said, even though I don't even know if it ought to even be acknowledged, right? This is not true. This notion that Hitler is Jewish is a anti-Semitic conspiracy to say, oh, the Jews did this to themselves. And just to be clear, this is a tactic that hateful people do in towards all sorts of groups. And I don't want to give examples, but you can find everywhere if a group is victimized or sort of assaulted. They did it to themselves. They deserve it in some way. And the ultimate way to do that in the context of anti-Semitism is to say, oh, Hitler himself was Jewish, right? Which is not. You can read every. Whether it's a German historian, whoever, there's nothing to this. It is not true. It is a way to take Zelensky and try to package him in something that obviously doesn't fit, right? For the Russians, somewhat understandably, right? They have a history of using Nazism as their ultimate enemy, right? Because of World War II, right? So anybody who is anti-Russian, at least they're going to see if they can take that path and say they have some connection to Nazism. Zelensky does not fit that box, right? Zelensky is not in any way a Nazi, but also he's Jewish. And so the only way to square that circle, which is unsquareable, is to lie about Zelensky and to lie about Hitler in this case. And what really could be worse?
You know what? I can actually say a whole lot less because you've hit the critical points there, Professor Sinkowitz. And we haven't had a chance to have you on the air for some time, man. I'm glad to have you here this morning. And it couldn't be a better morning celebrating your release of your new book, That's Not Funny, How the Right Makes Comedy Work for Them, Professor Matt Sinkowitz, and also your co-writer, Nick Marks. It is out and available today. Go check it out, Professor. We'll see you next time.
It's great to see you, Ben.
A pleasure is ours. I didn't know if I could do it, Rebecca, James.
Why y'all just not let me talk to Matt? I didn't like that. Like I wanted to, I'm trying
to clear it. I'm trying to make way for your conversation.
He gone.
Yeah, no, but you got to interview in like 2 minutes.
I know. I wanted to at least say hi.
I was too efficient, wasn't I? God damn.
It was. Not that you were too efficient. You and Matt was going, because y'all had so much to say. You know what I'm saying? It's just, but I wanted to just jump in there and say hi and then come out, because Matt is my friend too. So I felt like I wanted to just go ahead and say hello to Matt. Congratulations.
Matt has been rocking with us since.
You introduced me to Matt.
How many years is that?
This next story that we have up with our girl, Anoa Chunga, who is here, we definitely have to discuss, we definitely have to get into, because they did that right while everybody was worried about, including myself, the outfits that weren't being, at the Met Gala Awards. They just did this in the middle of nowhere. They voted to take away women's rights, of course, for abortion, to eradicate Roe v. Wade. So, Anoa, how are you doing? I know it's been a lot. I know that you were hot just as everybody else on the internets and the streets. Let's talk about it. Your mic is on.
Oh.
Yeah, your mic is on mute.
Muted. Good morning. Yes, because I was texting the group chat at midnight, like, y'all, are we talking about this in the morning? Because I'm available.
Definitely. So, and just for background, so the Supreme Court has voted yesterday this came out that the Supreme Court has voted to strike down the landmark Roe v. Wade decision, according to an initial draft majority opinion, and this was written by Justice Samuel Alito, and this circulated inside inside the court, and it was obtained by Politico, who yesterday evening dropped this news. And the draft opinion is a full, it's unflinching of the 1973 decision, which guaranteed federal constitutional protections of abortion rights, as we know, and subsequent 1992 decision, Planned Parenthood versus Casey, and that largely maintained that right, that Roe was egregiously wrong from the start. That's what Alito said. And now, while we were all watching the Met Gala awards or looking at the outfits that were all wrong all night, they done swept this out of nowhere, and Politico obtained it. And it's just something that, to me, future-wise, now lets us know that they don't care about women, they don't care about little girls, they don't care about us having the right to the decision to our bodies. It's so much that goes into this, but Anoa, let's talk about it. Let's unpack it.
I mean, let's be real, right? Like, conservatives in this country, Republicans in particular, have not cared about any of those things you just listed the last however many decades. Despite, overtures for return to the party of Lincoln, I don't actually even know that Lincoln would be on the right side of this necessarily. We've seen so many Republicans who are considered like the moderate or whatever the case may be, fall on the wrong side of things. But the one thing to first start off and clarify is that this is not like a final decision or ruling. So abortion is absolutely still legal right now. What it does, give a preview of is the possibility of, what the rationale and the way the things are coming down when the decision is actually released, most likely sometime next month or even in early July, right? But, abortion organizations, abortion funds, reproductive justice organizations, Black and brown folks in the South and around the country have been preparing and dealing with this for a very long time. Abortion access and the right protected by Roe has always been the floor, and it's not even been something that everyone in the country, even if you're in a quote unquote blue or safe state, has been able to really achieve. When we're reading through the language, what's really concerning, right, is not just the broad brushstroke with which Alito and others are possibly dismissing the right to abortion, but really digging into, the underpinning of the 14th Amendment, which provides for other rights, right? As well as their disdain for the idea of unalienable rights. There was some of this conversation around the 9th Amendment during, KBJ's confirmation hearing, entering Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson's confirmation hearing process. So they have been setting the stage, like they have been playing the long game for a very long time. Yeah. News just broke a couple of days ago that actually, like, the next move is to move for a nationwide 6-week federal ban. So when folks talk about elections matter, it's a little bit more complicated than just, you should have did X, Y, Z in 2016 and this would have never happened. I mean, folks should have did a lot of things in 2016, like not listening to baby Skynet, algorithm Ada to decide like how you were doing voter turnout and engagement and shirking responsibilities and turning out Black voters and other voters of color, right? But here we are now. It doesn't matter about relitigating 2016, who is right. We're not going back to 2019 ridiculous ideas like sex strikes and things of that nature. Y'all are telling on yourself, or you need to stop having sex with people because of this decision. Like, reevaluate your values, right? But really right now, like what I really want to talk about is how we need to be throwing down with abortion funds. We need to be throwing down with reproductive justice orgs. You have an entire coalition of Black and brown led organizations that put out a reproductive justice. I think we might have actually talked about this around Roe earlier this year. The 49th anniversary of Roe was earlier this year. Reproductive justice orgs have put out a reproductive justice agenda and a national platform, and are really making demands on the White House and Congress to step up. Because when you're thinking about reproductive justice, right, it's not just about abortion access, which is crucial, but the right to choose whether to have a family or not, to whether to continue and expand your family or not, that's something that's personal and should be provided to everyone. But beyond that, when we're thinking about bodily autonomy, when we're thinking about healthcare, many of the states that have abortion restrictions or bans on the books or in actually in application, also are doing very poorly in things like maternal health. Georgia ranks often number 1 in Black maternal mortality, and it's also at the bottom of the list when we're talking about maternal mortality, infant mortality generally. So are places like Mississippi, Alabama, several of the states that have been at the forefront of pushing forward these bans. We're also seeing pressure points on states that have had or independent clinics like the West Alabama Women's Health Center, I believe, in Tuscaloosa, which is an independent clinic run by Yellowhammer Fund, a Black-led abortion fund in Alabama. That has seen, because Planned Parenthood has not been providing certain services in Alabama and Georgia due to whatever their rational reasons. There was a piece from Jezebel that just came out about this. Despite that 200 million plus they just got, somehow they can't manage to, fund and support abortions in certain parts of the country in the most dire need. So we do see independent clinics like the West Alabama Clinic in Tuscaloosa feeling the pressure and absorbing, the additional support. So I'm really here to push for folks going directly to abortion funds. Right now, the National Network of Abortion Funds, if you go to their website, you can find the abortion fund that helps support folks in your state or in your region. And they are actually in the middle of what they call their fundathon. So it's this big time where people are coming together, organizing collectively, and doing this really amazing financial organizing. We think about different types of organizing, but the money matters, folks, and putting the money in the hands of folks who need to get abortions, whether it's for travel, childcare, hotel. I mean, not all funds are the same, but they all do a lot of similar work. And many of these funds also do, birth justice support, right? They support and help folks get access to doulas, because we know that it's not just about abortion access and care. It's about improving our access to healthcare, reproductive healthcare as a whole, right? And that bodily autonomy, that self-determination piece is certainly a part of that. And this isn't just about abortion, because they're going to come for birth control. They're going to come for same-sex marriage. Hell, they might try and come, for...
So that's what I wanted to get into. That's what I wanted to get into as well. That this...
Right? Like we really, it's so much at stake right now. And, Democrats, folks can say, well, we need to expand the Senate. I agree with that, but you need to expand the Senate with folks who are going to commit to abolishing the filibuster. Because if Democrats had the conviction, right, of all 50 in the Senate right now, they would move the filibuster out the way, pass the Women's Health Act, and
did she free?
Did we lose her? I want her to come back, because I wanted her to actually flesh out the conversation of exactly, it's not only abortions that this is attacking. Of course, we understand that when we hear Roe v. Wade or versus Wade, we have that. Sorry, guys. It's not. Ben, you just made.
Anyway, go ahead, Rebecca. Just go forth, Rebecca, and sin no more. My God, Rebecca.
I gotta say this. There's nothing funny about this story. I just have to put this in there. I want to apologize for laughing in the middle of that, what I was just saying. But Ben had got me together just now again on another word. He gonna text me. VS.
Rebecca, I said don't. I'm done. I can't. I see
the English teacher over there, Rebecca. You already know.
He done sent me. I said.
I teach grammar to my kids during homeschool, so you know.
I want to, like Victoria's Secrets, because they don't want us even in Victoria's.
Because when you say VS, listen, Black folks, when you say VS, we think VSOP, right? So we didn't. I don't. Every time you said it, I'm thinking about Hennessy. Nah, I ain't thinking about it.
Anywho,
versus.
But that's what it stands for. Versus. That's what I was saying it for. Ben is telling me to say it out, to say the word out. So anywho, I will say, but when we think of that, we only think of abortion when we think of what's going on. But there's so much other things that they're going to come for when it comes to women's rights. They don't want us to have the access to our body. They will come for birth control. Birth control isn't only for people who want to, have, or not, it's not even only for unprotected sex. It's not for those reasons. It's like for people who want to regulate their periods, for people who get terrible cramping. It's so many different reasons why people get on that. And again, to prevent pregnancies. That's a great thing, for us to have that option to do with ourselves. But I don't understand why they would think they could come in like a thief in the night. Well, you know what? No, I do understand, because they do it all the time with a lot of things. You wake up and there's a policy that is affecting you. And this will have a great effect on who the most.
A lot of people, everybody.
Who the most?
Black women.
Thank you. Black women.
And it's coming through now that Biden is saying promises action after leaked Supreme Court decision that could overrule Roe versus Wade.
See, the thing is, I don't want to hear him say that. Yeah, it's a very broad, promising action. What does that look like? What is that? Because
the specific action is overturning the filibuster and packing the courts. If they're not going to do what it needs to take, I don't want to hear a headline saying they're going to take action. No, I don't want emails. I don't want tweets. We need action.
Yeah,
whatever.
And that's what exactly what Anoa was saying. She's like, let's start taking action by partnering with these different abortion companies or people who are advocating for. Let's start adding to their funding. But these people on the left, low key, are looking at it just as many of the people who have conservative views or who are conservative. So they're gonna rock with this in the background and be like, well, we're saving the babies.
Oh, not just on the left. Black folks. There's going to be a lot of black folks who are going to say the same thing. Like,
but black folks is on the left. They ride that wave too. Like, it's like they're going to ride with some conservative views. Like I said, I even come from a conservative view when it comes to that. But I've also benefited from, for me and my decision, from being able to go and have an abortion procedure. So you see what I'm saying? Like, I want women to always have the right to choose. Because I don't want the government to have our bodies and tell us what we can do with our bodies. There is no laws that's actually preventing men from out here impregnating women. Let's put some laws on penises.
Free vasectomies for all men. Free vasectomies for all men on the face of the planet. And you get it reversed. You get it reversed when you and your consensual partner have agreed that y'all want to have a baby. That way we ain't got to worry about abortions. Problem solved. But they won't do that. You know why? Because it's really about controlling. They want to force birth. They want to control. I mean, I'm not saying this to you, Rebecca. You know this. They want to control women's bodies. And most of all, they want to control the sexuality of women. They want to control
That's another thing that goes with it. Yeah. That's another thing that goes in with it. Now, this is going to affect a lot of these leaders, too, who got side chicks and who don't like to use protection. Okay? It's going to affect you in your house. Okay? So now you're going to have these little babies out here, these children out here and things like that. And I'm not saying that, like I said, for the people who are saying that they don't support abortion, and for those who say that they do support abortion, you should be able to choose. That's all I'm saying. That's right, and for all of them that are saying it's a religious situation, again, you should be able to choose.
Don't get an abortion.
That is not your business. I don't care what gods you serve or whatever you got going on. The government isn't trying to help.
There's a couple leaders in this country that should have been aborted.
I don't know, but I can't go with that. I can't say that. You took it.
That's so goddamn rude.
I can't.
I mean,
would the world not be a better place? Let's call a spade a spade.
I can't really.
The world would be a better place without some of these Neanderthals.
You probably shouldn't have been. Never mind. You know what? Just never mind.
Beloved, I can't. I'm not here with you or you. I'm over
somebody
here.
Somebody got to remain sanctified.
A couple of leaders that should have been aborted. Oh my God. Ben.
When did it like? It was like, oh,
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Oh my God.
She looked like a failed abortion.
I don't like her either.
Damn, Ben.
Yeah,
I got jokes, y'all, but I always was afraid of getting canceled. I don't care about that shit no more.
No, yeah, you really don't, because you said other things on past shows in the last month. But there's a recent video that's circulating on the TikTok, and it's about a girl. She's like, I was pregnant. I went and got an abortion, and then that seemed to have failed. So I went and got the procedure, actually, like a great procedure done, like the second part. And she said after she got sick, next thing you know, a baby came out of her. That baby fought 2 abortions. Oh, no, excuse me. It was the Plan B, then the abortion, because the baby didn't take the Plan B. So then went, the baby didn't take to the Plan B. Then she went and got an abortion.
Is this a true story?
This is a factual story. And then the baby came out. That baby said,
that baby said they going to be born.
And came
that baby say, damn all this stuff that you trying to do. I'm coming out, goddamn it.
What's up?
Rebecca, that baby say, hey, what's up?
What's that?
Hey, we need to check. Hey, that baby might might be something special around here.
That's a, and the baby,
that baby might be the second coming.
The baby was beautiful, but she had. Here's the thing: that woman had the right to choose, and Mother Nature or universe or whatever did this thing, but still had the right to choose. Okay, listen, let folks choose, and then let the world and God or Jesus, Buddha, or whoever you serve do the rest. It's none of your business. The government should not have any say so on women's.
See, that's what you're saying, Rebecca. What you are saying is a conservative position that the government should not have any right to tell an individual what to do with their body, their autonomy, right? That is literally a conservative position, but Republicans have gone so far with eating their own ideology that, like, forget about right to your own body. They're trying to force you to have babies now. Mm-hmm. So if people want to they're trying to force you to not have sex. They're trying to force you to not be able to marry who you want to marry. So when people talk about how far Republicans come, I need folks to understand that what Rebecca is saying, having liberty, they're saying liberty every day. They literally don't mean it. They mean liberty for them to do what they want, and complete domination of government control over your body is what conservatives are trying to get.
Yeah. No, that's exactly. And if listen to what you're saying now, none of it makes sense. They don't want you to have sex, but they want you to go ahead and have these babies, right? They don't want you to. None of it makes sense. But they want you to be free. They want you to be liberated. They want you to have. They want us to keep saying that this country and what we stand for is the freedom to choose, the freedom to speak, the freedom to do all that. But it's an asterisk near it, and it's like, with conditions. Those conditions are whatever we want, how we can control it. That's the only way that we can move forward. And women, women shouldn't have any rights here. They shouldn't have any rights. And the black women especially, we're going to definitely make you have those kids. And you're not going to be able to put them in housing. And then we're going to put them in programs like foster care, and which
the
are
worst schools
the
in the country.
Worst kinds of care for children. So it's like this whole domino effect. And then they're going to start blaming us, and they're going to say, oh, black people are having all these kids. Immigrants are coming here and having all these kids. They're going to have these kind of conversations. This is what it leads into. And this is where it becomes very, very problematic. So it is not only just the abortion, though. It is the way that they want to control our bodies and what we do. And it make us feel smaller. And on top of us already, and I mean us, I'm talking about black women, on top of black women already having to struggle, already having to figure out things as black women maneuvering in all of these spaces. We are controlled. We are talked down to. They want to take everything from us. And in this position, in this particular thing, if it does come to pass, the fact that it's even on the radar, the fact that there is drawn up paperwork for the conversation with an exclamation point, that they want this over in that document, with the fact that it's already out there, this will potentially, most likely, affect black people beyond just measure, black women are beyond measure. And I just want people to know, like, this is not right. The government shouldn't have any control over anything that we do when it comes to taking care of our bodies and how we see fit as women.
I think
two clowns on the screen at the same time. That's just like terrible. Jimmy Neutron and Doug Funny. That's what it looks like. And then I like both of them, but god dang, that's exactly what it looks like.
Doug Funny was my man. I think we're running out of stuff to talk about, Bubba, and we don't have no more callers. So Rebecca might miss out on this one.
Is she on pop up real soon? Now, if you want to, Dwayne, there is something that I dropped in there that Ben asked me to drop in Slack. I don't know if you see it. Talking about Drake clapping back at a troll.
Oh, I'll grab it. Give me a second.
Yeah. Very, very funny. It's like people have, I guess people think that with celebrities that they don't have a life too. I guess they feel that because they're celebrities that, they have a publicist that looks over all their stuff and just does whatever the hell they want to. No, Drake had time today. Drake had a lot of time, as somebody posted a comment under his page talking about his son. That's what it was. And Drake said, not today, bruh. And he posted a picture of him going to follow the guys.
Yeah, it's all,
the guy's girlfriend's page.
I'm bringing that in now, but it's always funny to me when people do that. They go and either troll celebrities or they just be saying some off the wall stuff, like they aren't real people that, you know, sometimes have enough, and then when the celebrities clap back, that's always funny to me. But here's
absolutely.
Here's the clip you was talking about. Let's see. It's short, so.
Oh, and actually, it's probably not even a clip, Dwayne. Yeah. I think it's just music. Yeah. Here we go. And I can read what it says here. It all started when Drake commented on an Instagram post criticizing #NBA dads. The troll responds, "Your son probably played with ghostwriters." In true certified lover boy fashion, Drake prompted to follow the troll's wife on Instagram. He responded, "I just followed your girl because she's probably miserable and needs some excitement in her life."
Yo, and if there's anybody that you don't want following your queen on social media, it's Drake.
It's Drake, bro.
It's Drake, man. You might just have to hang it up. Like I'd be like, all right, you got it, bro. I'm gonna go sit down in the corner somewhere. There's a couple
light skinned employer of the wear.
Right. There's a couple like him. There's a list. I guess probably him, Trey Songz, and Usher. What's my man? What's the actor with the green eyes? What's my man name that be in all?
And Dwayne, y'all. Dwayne light skin ass too.
I ain't even light skin like that. What's the actor name with the green eyes? Yo, he was in Bel Air. What's my man? You know who I'm talking about?
Yes, Dwayne. I know exactly who you talking about.
Y'all somebody woman in a show or a movie.
Every movie. What is this man's name? Y'all know who we talking about, man. Light skinned dude with pretty green eyes. Y'all know who we talking about. My God, I can't remember his name.
I can't think of his name, but he's definitely on that list of dudes you don't want following your girl on social media.
Absolutely. Oh man.
But so since we on Drake, right? So I know you saw the story the other day.
Michael Ealy.
Michael Ealy, that's his name. Yeah.
Michael Ealy, thank you. I knew somebody knew it. Thank you.
Yeah, if Michael Ealy is following your queen, you might as well go ahead and start packing your
bags. Hang it up, bro.
But so on the Drake the other day, I know you saw the rapping white girl was rapping Lil Baby's lyrics at the wedding, and then Drake went and signed her. How you feel? Yeah, he signed her to some kind of, I don't know what she gonna be doing because she ain't a rapper. But
what the hell?
Yeah. So he supposedly signed her for something, but then it came out that she had a history of using the N-word about raccoons.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So, Dwayne, I think do you have that clip still in the tank? I know we had posted that clip with but we can't really play it because that'll knock this channel ban this one so quick.
We can't get the channel banned while Ben ain't even here. That'd be bad.
Okay. That should be the main time we do it. Get Ben banned while he's not here. It's like, you should have had your ass here.
Right. Like, Ben, how you get fired on your day off?
On your day off. This is what happens when y'all leave me and Dwayne alone.
Right.
That's all right, though. The Dwayne and DJ exclusive show is coming soon. We didn't make it happen today. It was like we had this just a overview and a brief run through. See how it go.
They ain't gonna leave us alone no more. I tell you that.
They not. But hell, Ben better get some better internet, and Rebecca better start coming to work on time.
Showing up on time.
On time.
I think we out of stuff to talk about today, man.
Yeah, man, I agree. And Rebecca ain't here yet. It's 9:35.
Yeah,
and she ain't come through. Yes, we did mutiny the show today, and I actually liked it. It'll be better.
What we gonna have to do is we gonna have to keep like 5 or 6 stories in the tuck for days like this when we just gotta take over.
Just for us.
Yeah.
I agree, bro.
We'll be better prepared next time, viewers and listeners. We promise. We'll be better prepared.
Man, and let me apologize to everybody yesterday because Dwayne. Matter of fact, I'm gonna see if I can grab this real quick that somebody sent me. Hold on, Dwayne. I know I'm pulling the Audible real fast.
Oh, hey, I don't care. I ain't got nowhere to be.
But this was funny as crap. When they sent it to me, I'm like, bro, I gotta keep this. Now, how can I do this? All right, hold on, let me do it from my phone. But yeah, man, let me apologize to y'all yesterday because apparently, I guess I was enjoying my coffee a little bit too much. A little too goddamn much.
I remember that. I remember that. It was
okay.
It was like one of them cartoons.
And I didn't realize it until somebody sent it to me and was like, who's this? I was like, oh shit.
Can I lay you down? You want to lay down? You want to lay down? Huh?
Oh, let's see here. I don't want that. Oh. Give y'all a little music while we get this downloaded at least. Boom. Okay, Dwayne. I just dropped it in the in the Slack.
That was the ASMR. Is that what it's called?
Bruh, yes. Oh man, I was like, I can't believe that I did that.
Most of the time when it happens, I have you muted so that like we only hear it behind the scenes. But that was the time I left you unmuted, and that coffee was too good.
And then it didn't help none that I forgot to mute myself. Like normally I'll mute myself if I'm not on screen yet or anything. But my God, today that slurp was like, that was ignorant as hell.
Here we go. I got it.
This is a good move. We should, by all means, the conversation never ends. What we need to do. We know what we need to do as it pertains to this environment. We've known for some time this is the right step in the right direction. It does bug me, though. Absolutely rubs me the wrong way to think that this is somehow tied to war itself. That the impetus behind this is
it makes it even funnier because Ben was in the middle of a whole point, and it was just like. That's what makes it even better.
So I apologize, y'all. It was just like you say y'all see I ain't even got coffee today. I ain't even get coffee. I'm like, you know what?
We need to give you a chance to get coffee today. I was like, Bubba, I need you to come in and help save the day. Georgia on, but I don't want to leave her up on by herself. So you're gonna have to skip the coffee today.
Oh man.
I think we have I guess we was having too much fun. Rebecca said the show was going off the rails, so she had to hold on here.
Pop her ass up on him. Excuse me. Oh my God!
Don't come in here clearing your throat like that.
Right,
I needed to clear my throat for Bubba. He just coughed.
Don't come in here clearing your throat.
Oh my God.
Oh, we got time,
Rebecca.
We got time today.
Of course, you guys have to. I feel like it was a wreck without me.
No. We can take a poll. We can take a poll. It wasn't.
We can actually because we got viewers, child.
But I wasn't talking about you though, Bubba. I really was talking about Dwayne being on the show. That's what I was talking about. So you don't gotta,
Dwayne. They don't want to see us together, Dwayne.
Hey,
look, Bubba, you have to have my back. Nobody want to see us.
Bubba, let me tell you something. So you know, like in the Zoom, right? I don't know how many people know this, but if you ever get like kicked out of a Zoom, you can never come back in that same Zoom.
You can't.
So Rebecca, you better tread lightly because
this is not Friday. I don't even know why you're here. Lightly. It's not even Friday. Okay.
Look, but because y'all got issues. When I say y'all, Ben, and then Rebecca, y'all got issues, so we had to come through and hold it down.
I didn't have an issue. I actually let y'all know beforehand that I wasn't going to be here. At the time. So beforehand, I let you guys know beforehand. That was over 24 hours. It wasn't this morning. It was over 24 hours ago. So, but I will say, good morning to everybody. Welcome to Like It or Not, where we're free to tell the truth.
It's not care who doesn't like it.
It is damn Thursday at 9:41. It's May 5th. It is Cinco de Mayo. It's my ex-boyfriend Chris Brown's birthday, and then it's my godson's birthday. So happy birthday to my godson Elias, who I named. Who else?
Oh, nice. I like that. It's Revenge of the 5th, of course, and it's Doctor Strange Day.
Okay. All right. But it is all those things.
Wait, Bubba, does that come out tonight?
Oh, yeah. I'm going at 3 o'clock. I'll be there.
At the movies?
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I guess I might take a stop through the movies. I don't know anything about it, but I feel like I go find out about it when I'm there. I just go call somebody and be like, let's go to the movies. And,
Okay.
But anyways,
you don't know what the movie about.
Trying to take you to know movies?
A lot of people want to take me to the movies. So, anywho, I just wanted to, I don't even remember what I dropped yesterday, but I felt like I really wanted to talk about those stories. That's why I really wanted to come on this morning. But I don't even remember what those things were. I believe there was one about, this is what I wanted to drop. I don't know if you guys discussed it already, and I know that this would be actually something that you would want to talk about, Dwayne. I don't know if you guys got there yet. JJ Smith?
JJ Redick.
We did.
JJ Redick.
Yeah, we did.
JJ Redick.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Look, me Smith. Yeah. JJ Redick, who was on one of them shows with Stephen A. Smith. I forgot what that show was called. They were discussing. It's First Take. Okay. They were discussing Draymond Green, and I guess something that he does on the court. And one of the people on the panel were saying he does too much or whatever the case may be.
I don't know why I froze.
JJ actually read them for Phil. But I would love to play the interview. And can we play the interview? Because I did put it out there. Do we have it?
I mean, we kind of played it already, but we can play it again.
Oh, you guys already discussed it? And Bubba, you are frozen.
For the people.
You are frozen.
I got you.
Have you gotten the video yet, Dwayne?
What video are you talking about?
This whole time I'm telling you to get the video because I wanted to discuss it, but you guys said you guys already watched the video and discussed it?
Yeah, I got it right here.
Oh. You just want to talk today.
No, I had it. I just had to let you know that we already played it, so I was trying to see if you wanted to play it again, but obviously
yes, I do.
So
I actually do.
It's because he plays with joy and fun and a carefree attitude and a fearlessness. You can't take away what makes a player great. So there's no shut up and play.
God, he is so polarizing. For all the fans that you think listen to the podcast and watch them, I can give you 50 million fans who would tell you the same thing. Enough already. So he is a polarizing athlete. Sure, there are certain younger fans especially that like to hear him play. I'll give you a large segment of older fans who have followed the NBA for 60 years, this is not a political scenario or a race situation, who have followed Wilt and grew up as a Knicks fan, who loved Clyde and loved Reed and loved the Pearl.
Why did he mention weed, right?
Reed.
Talking about Willis Reed.
I listened to that about 3 times. And I said, this racist piece of crap, why did he say weed? I was so upset. I said, there is no way that what makes this story, how does weed fit into this? And then so that whole time I was strong and wrong, I was upset.
I
was upset.
Is that why you dropped the clip? Because you thought he was...
No, I dropped the clip because I thought JJ Redick did a good job in defending, the fact that it's not that serious. Let Draymond, act accordingly. And for him to list off other people, that don't matter to this generation, however, they still get respected. But, you can't just come off the top of your mouth and just say he should stop doing X, Y, Z. It does coincide with the shut up and play that we heard from Laura Ingraham over there at Fox. It does coincide with that. I think that falls in line right with the conversation. And so for him to he's speaking from a player's point of view. He understands what it's like to be on the court. Also, he's sitting here. He has to be the expert in the room to have that conversation on the floor. And then for him to say, the panelist, who I don't know his name, but to say, it's not about a race issue, and for JJ to come back and say, it's not about a race issue, but at the same time, it's like in his tone of voice, it would say, it can be though. It can be because Shut Up and Play came from Laura Ingraham, and it was, I think, racially initiated, and for him for a black man not to discuss things that are happening in the world to black men. So just in the moment where Draymond can express himself in whatever way that he can that ain't hurting nobody, let him do so.
Yeah, no. So like you said, for him to say it's not a race issue makes it a race issue a little bit. But like you, if it was a white player,
Take
like
me
Tom
down
Brady,
real quick, okay?
Tom Brady all the time gets praised for his passion and his fire. You know what I mean? But if let somebody else, let a black player do kind of the same thing, then they're a bad teammate. They're bigger than the
aggressive.
Game. They're bigger than the team. They're aggressive, things like that. So yeah, but like you say, for him to say it's not a race issue kind of makes it a race issue. And here's the JJ Redick response that you were talking about.
I'm not saying it's a race situation. I'm saying that the fans you're talking about, they talk about athletes that way, like you just talked about an athlete.
I think there's a lot. I think there's a large segment.
The people on Fox News talk about athletes that way.
Well,
That's my issue.
Fox News
That's my issue. I don't actually care about the fans that watched Bob Cousy play or watched Wilt play. I don't care. I appreciate that they've been NBA fans that long, but I don't appreciate the undertone.
Hold on.
Well, you see, here's what I like about this, because, if I had a friend like JJ, you know what I'm saying? I'd be like, JJ, you know what? Like, thanks for looking out. Thanks for speaking up when I can't speak up in the room. But I don't understand what point. I still really don't get why that panelist was trying to throw back the same passion to JJ and not understand JJ's frustration. I think he didn't want to be wrong in that moment, and his point was being just taken apart. And I'm talking about the panelists. His point was being taken apart because it didn't make sense. Then he said nobody wants to see Draymond in that way. However, JJ brought out the point that Draymond has a podcast where mad people are listening to him. So if nobody wants to hear him or see him be other than, just a player, and not have any feelings, that's a lie. And, we've debunked that myth. So let's move on to the fact that what you're saying really has no weight here. Let that man be a player. Let that man express himself. Let him like he's not hurting anybody. It's problematic when you're saying that this black man doing anything outside of playing, dribbling the ball is too much. It's too much. But like you said, Dwayne, when we hear them speak about passionate white athletes, they're said to be really passionate. We've never seen them come out there with that aggression and put it all on the field and put it all out there. But this is like basketball. We all the time on the court, we're going to hear and we're going to see. We always do, like from the beginning. Like it's always been that these men, they play aggressively, they say what they want, they dance, they express themselves in different ways on the court, and we cannot tell them not to be. That this is their game, this is their arena. You guys sit on a sports news desk, and so it's about time that we've had people like JJ, which I hope they will bring him on. They will continue to bring him on to analyze and be an analyst in this space, because it's people like him who still have. He fine too. It's people like him who still have a nice, age range of not being too far removed from the game, but actually being in a space where they actually can sit here and have a conversation. Yeah, so I like it.
So the guy, the first guy, his name is Chris Russo, Mad Dog. He's been like a staple in New York sports radio for 20 years maybe. But he's always been one to just say kind of off the wall, like stuff like that. So, but to your point,
he met his match on this day.
But to your point, Draymond, like a lot of people want to hear what he has to say, because he was hurt he missed a good portion of this season, was out for like a couple months, 3 months maybe, and he was on while he was out. He was on NBA on TNT with Shaq and Kenny and them during games. So people definitely want to hear what he has to say, and he's a very intelligent guy, Draymond Green. He doesn't get the credit for that a lot of times, because a lot of times all people see is that fire that on the court. But all his team, like I said to Bubba earlier, all his teammates, everybody that's ever played with him loves him. Like, so Draymond, keep doing what you do.
He's been fun to watch. You know, I hear a lot of people talk about him, and when I watch the game from occasion to occasion, like he's been really, really fun to watch. I think, you know, having that passion on the court, being able to play around younger players and still keep it up in that way. He's always a part of the conversation. So I think, you know, I love that we have people right now like JJ and how they're taking some of the players, like you said, when they're hurt or when they're down, to be analysts and to have conversations, and we can actually see their true, you know, more than them being on the court. It's not just shut up and dribble, because a lot of them, like you said, they are intelligent. They're more knowledgeable because they have been on the court. So they're not just mouthpieces. They can actually speak from experience. So I want to see more of that in these spaces.
Yeah. But keep watching First Take. You'll get to see more of JJ Redick. He's on there quite a bit. I know you.
Okay,
you say you
fine.
like his
So
face,
I used to watch First Take back when. But yeah, let me go ahead and move further from that, because yes, JJ Redick is fine as hell. Somebody like, you know what I'm saying? If you white and you fine like that and you stick up for your black friends like that, call me. But anywho, and you got to be over 6 feet. You got to be over 6 feet though. I don't know what's playing on my phone.
What? Something
that Tiger put into the chat. Now I'm like, what is that? But no, there's a tweet, because before we get out of here, there is a tweet that I wanted to discuss from one of these, what was it, Matt Gaetz? And he was discussing what is the Roe versus Wade possible eradication. And he was talking about women that ain't got no man, right? He tweeted out on Twitter. He was discussing. Hold on, I'm looking for the specific tweet.
No,
do you guys have
thank
the specific?
You. I don't have it, because I thought the clip that we had was what we was trying to play, but it was the old sex trafficking clip of him and Tucker. So thank you for coming in and saving that. So if you find the tweet, please. Because me and Bubba was looking crazy earlier. I was like, there's the clip. I was like, nah, this ain't what I thought it was.
You guys, y'all was messing up. So listen, he tweeted out basically, I don't have the specific tweet, but he was basically coming for women who were speaking against, you know, the not speaking against abortion, who were pro-choice, and they were speaking against the possible eradication of the Roe versus, because Ben don't like when I say VS, Roe versus Wade. And I think that, you know, I really need to get the tweet, because you guys will see how ridiculous this man sounded when he tweeted. He basically was saying, y'all, the people that are upset about this, go home to no man eating frozen dinners. The people that are upset about this, you know, have no lives. The women, they aren't pretty enough. We see why they're mad about the situation. And this is what I'm saying. These are the people who are put in place to have dominion over women's bodies, over women's vaginas, over women's choices. These people like Matt Gaetz, Jimmy Neutron head behind. These are the people, white men with no idea. They're the ones that are put in place that disrespect women, and the reasons why that we're standing with being pro-choice. You know, it's more than just not wanting to be a mother or not being able to be a mother in that time. There are health situations that are part of this conversation too. For mothers who are high risk, for people who have bad periods, like the list can go on. And it keeps people safe from going in and from being forced to go into a market, a black market, to go or self situations that they choose to have abortions. This keeps people safe. Also, who is going to take care of the kids? Matt, you going to take care of the kids?
Nope.
Are you going to, like...
You don't want him taking care of your kids?
Not at all. Yeah, because we heard about Matt. Yep. We heard about Matt and touching folks. I don't know why he's still in place. And also, I don't know why he gets to say anything about women's bodies and vaginas. I don't understand. I don't get it. He's pushing laws that don't even support... If women were to go and have these children, there's no health care for real. Women are still trying to get paid leaves in some of their corporate jobs or in some of their jobs, period, when they have babies. Paid leave. Not all jobs offer that. Not all jobs offer that, but they want you to have this child. If something does happen to the child, what about medical costs? If something happens to the mother, what about medical costs? They're going to put them up in a foster care program where we know how foster care is. It's a terrible place to be. A lot of times these kids get forgotten, hurt. We saw what happened with Ma'Khia Bryant, who was dealing with some things inside of a foster home and ended up, taking her, getting ready to fight somebody and got shot down by police officers. What are we doing here? There's so many things that this thing could lead to. It's a domino effect. But people like Matt Gaetz, who has been accused of sexual trafficking and has been accused of touching folks inappropriately, has been accused of so many things on the line, still gets to get seated and have a conversation and tell women that they're not beautiful enough and they're lonely and nobody wants them. That's why they are pro-choice. You don't get to do that. You don't get to do that. This is our leadership. These are the people who are put in place, and this is very telling. This is very telling. That's why we say it's more than just about pro-choice. It's more than just about religion. People want to tote around religion. It'd be the most Christian folks who are in this space who want to make the call, and white men who want to make the calls over women's bodies, who have had to resort to bringing their side chicks, their mistresses, they sneaky links to the abortion clinic, or having to Venmo or Cash App or Zelle them the money to go get the procedures done. It be them. It be them. So here's what he tweeted. How many of the women rallying against overturning Roe are overeducated, underloved millennials who sadly return from protests to a lonely microwave dinner with their cats and no Bumble matches? White men is killing black women on Bumble anyway, so nobody trying to do that. Overeducated, so you want the women to be dumb? Overeducated, help me understand. And underloved millennials. Millennials ain't underloved. We out here in these streets. We just choosing not to choose because the housing is ridiculously expensive. Having a baby is ridiculously expensive right now. We can't afford to do those kind of things. Ain't nobody being underloved. Sex is real out here. Sex is selling. Sex is everywhere. Every corner you turn, it's real beautiful out here. It ain't underloved, and we're choosing to live alone because don't nobody want nobody in their space right now. There's a lot going on in this world. Mentally, we're trying to keep ourselves together, okay? Until somebody comes along and we can make it happen. Bumble is not the key. Bumble is not the key. So that whole tweet is just a fool. Clearly, he's not happy with his life. He's throwing this out there, and he got this man sex trafficking. Let's talk about being underloved. Like, it's a fool. We don't need the pot calling the kettle black. White. We don't need none of that. We really don't. This month is Mental Health Awareness Month. So I would definitely like to have some guests on for the month of May who are going to chat about mental health awareness. So the woman that you had on prior to, I'm sorry, Ben, your colleague, I hate that I forgot her name, but let's discuss mental health awareness for the month of May. Not only is it Mental Health Awareness Month, it also is Haitian Heritage Month. So be prepared to be sick of me. I might be just speaking in Creole all of a sudden.
So it's a lot of stuff going on in May because y'all know what else is in May? Masturbation Month is May.
No, it's not. You don't.
Yes,
tell me that. That is not even a real thing. That's not a real thing. I'm not accepting that. I'm definitely not Googling it to find out if it's true. So I'm just it's gonna not exist in my mind.
Cinco de Mayo is Thursday as well too. So yes, May has a lot of stuff going on.
But yes, my birthday is the most important after Haitian Heritage. So
Mother's Day.
My birthday. So happy birthday to me. Make sure, you know what I'm saying? Y'all know what's up. I'm turning 32. Just if you don't follow me now, you better follow me on the social medias to see what 32 is going to look like because it's going to be really cute. Anywho, we're at the end of the show.
I know you got a hard out.
I got to be in the streets. You guys are kids. You guys are children. You guys are children.
I would have made it.
It is Tuesday. Tuesday, and you guys are children. You guys are children this morning. Love you guys so much. Mean it. We're at the end of the show. I hope that Noah can come back tomorrow.
I wish you would have dropped that video, Ben, that you tagged me in on Instagram, because that would have just been it.
Oh my God, Charles Barkley. Oh my goodness. And what's funny is, hey, Charles Barkley talk about, when you got a man banging into you, and he was as oblivious to his double entendre as I always am.
But you know who caught it though. You know who was laughing.
You know.
We'll play that clip tomorrow. Kikiing. But hopefully we can get Noah back tomorrow to develop the story a little bit more when it comes to the Roe versus Wade decision. But yeah, hopefully we can get her back tomorrow. Her power went out. Love her. Mean it. Thanks for coming on to the show. Thanks, Matt Sinkowitz, for coming on and dropping his book. What was it? You weren't funny. You ain't that funny.
That's not funny.
That funny.
Yeah.
That's not funny. That's not funny. Go listen to Future's album. I Never Liked You. Love you guys. Mean it.
And Jesus never liked Steven Crowder either. Let's go. All right,
Toxic Tuesday. Y'all listen to Future while eating y'all tacos.
Hey y'all, that's what that is. Love y'all. See you.
When I was down.
All of y'all going to hell. All right, y'all. We love y'all. Mean it. Y'all have an awesome Taco Tuesday, man. And thank you again for tuning in to the Benjamin Morning Show, man. Shout out to all the guests that we have, and shout out to all of our hosts as well, too. And shout out to everybody behind the scenes, Dwayne, Tiger, Josh, David Ass, who's on vacation. Everybody, we love y'all. Mean it. Hey, we will see y'all tomorrow. Your affirmation for this Taco Tuesday is, I allow my wisdom to guide me to the best choices. I allow my wisdom to guide me to the best choices. Y'all gonna be great, man. We will see y'all mañana. That's tomorrow, right, Dwayne? Deuces. Love y'all.